Why do researchers find food riots so interesting?
Because food riots are the most fundamental kind of politics. Food is so important to our human right to survive that food riots get tremendous power from our gut, where hunger meets justice. Now, food rioters are challenging the state because they're using force and violence, so they can't be ignored. And food rioters are willing to risk punishment because they have some hope of achieving something. As for the state, it has to solve some food problems in order to hang on to its popular legitimacy. So from Ming China, down to the French Revolution, down to the food riots of 2008, food security has been a cornerstone of the state's social contracts with its peoples.
What do 18th century food riots teach us that is relevant for today?
The hundreds of food riots in 18th century England and France created what I call a politics of provisions. That is, food riots often succeeded in getting food depending on political relationships. Political relationships among the rioters, bonds of solidarity that enable them to act together, and their relationships with their rulers, which gave them some hope of accomplishing something. So those food riots often moved their rulers to use their wealth and power to bring in relief supplies of food. The politics of provisions and food riots worked.
What do you think distinguishes contemporary food riots from those in the past that you've studied?
Well, contemporary food riots are both the same and different from those in the past. Food riots are still shaped by those political relationships among rioters and between rioters and their rulers. For instance, in 2008, Egyptian food rioters drew on the strength of their trade union movement to defend their access to food, even in the authoritarian regime of Hosni Mubarak. By contrast, in India, their vital democracy means that there are relatively few food riots, and instead, food politics, the right to food, works through social movements like the Right to Food movement that hold governments accountable, through Supreme Court orders, and through laws and government programs that create entitlements to food and actually deliver food to the people who need it. On the other hand, the food rioters of 2008 could not reach the big powers of the neoliberal global food system, that is, big agribusiness corporations or those American food farm blocks which tilt the food system in their direction. But on the other hand, the food riots of 2008 did make the World Bank and the United Nations change their paradigms about the global food system. Whether that puts food in people's stomach remains to be seen.